So, being without human contact, being mostly without human contact for the past several years, it can be hard to know what people are doing. And so I just have some things I want to throw out there. What's really preferable to bad things happening is preventing those bad things from happening. And I think I talked a little bit about this earlier, where when things are past the point of crisis and it's just a constant state of emergency, and I think plenty of us would say, yeah, that's where we're at. So, I mean, when we know that that machine is just going to keep going, and it's going to do as much harm as possible, because that's the intention. It's the intention is to do harm. And people might be making excuses for it and things like that, but the intention is harm. All right, so when we know that that machine is going to keep going, well, I mean, do we say, oh, well, I mean, or do we try to, one, predict what might be next? Okay, so, all right, this happened. Now, what might be next? Is there any possibility, using my thinking skills, my logic, my critical thinking, that I might have some idea what could happen next? You know, and when and if you can kind of predict what might happen, are there things that can be done to prevent harm? Okay, and if there are not things that can completely prevent harm, then what can be done to reduce harm, to keep people alive, to keep people alive, and I mean, a person can lose heart, if a person is in a place and they don't know how long they're going to be there, and a person might be being tortured, and could we say there are different ways, sometimes maybe that's real intentional, other times, it's just part of this whole abuse thing that goes on, perhaps. Sorry about the light. So when when we know that things are going to get worse until we stop it, and that machine is just going to keep going, can we predict what might happen? If we can predict what might happen, can we think about, all right, if this happens here, if this happens here, and have some things in place so that if these things happen, at least harm is reduced, at least people stay alive until we stop that machine. All right, so there's a question. And the other question is this, and again, I kind of, there have to be people thinking about this, but I don't see much going on. All right, I mean, plenty of people are active in doing things, but it hasn't stopped yet, and there continue to be plans to do more harm. So, paying attention. Then when something is done, or something is said that it's going to be done, what's next? What action do you need to take next? And again, I think again about thinking beyond that. All right, there's that. All right, here's this action that's taken. And yeah, we know the machine is going, the intention is to do harm. It's what needs to happen next. I mean, really, I think that there are some real simple things that need to be happening, and I really think it's a lack of ethics. I think, could I say cowardice? And what all things are contributing, to the harm not being stopped? You know, uh, People being used to it, people going along with things. I mean, they're what are the different factors? But again, the machine is going. It's getting worse, and it's going to continue to get worse because the intention is to do harm. Logically, what do you know could happen? And I'm not only talking about one thing. Logically, what are different things that could happen? Thinking about those things that could happen, what can be done to, at the very least, minimize harm? Then, when something is done that is harmful, what needs to happen? And yeah, I'm not going to bash people getting in the streets, but people getting in the streets have got killed. All right, so there are some things like that, and yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot going on, but again, it's not going to stop on its own, again, the intention is to do harm, and and I think that there are logical. I think we could look at history and we could think about things that have been done, other places, and we could think about here too, but we could think about things that have been done other places and how bad it got, and we should not assume that it can't get that bad here. All right, so I think it's so important to be thinking worst case. What's the worst possibility? And it could be anything. I mean, do I want to say some of it? Well, no, not really, because what if somebody says, hey, yeah, that's a good idea, but we should not think that the worst possible harm isn't possible. And what needs to happen? Again, thinking logically, what are possibilities? What needs to get in place to at least reduce harm? When harmful things are done, what needs to happen? I mean, I can think of what I think could be a pretty easy way to take care of some things, but I think we sort of have to be thinking, you know, of staying alive and not being imprisoned and things like that. So anyhow, just a few words. Humans shouldn't harm other humans. Humans shouldn't want to harm other humans. When humans want to harm other humans, that's illness. That's illness in humans. So, not a bad idea to be thinking about that too. When humans are ill like that, what might at least interfere with that illness so that harm is prevented to people? Do we want to try to cure that illness? I mean, can we? There's a question, but really, it's important. Thinking logically, harm reduction, preventing harm, when things happen, what could be next? What could be next? Looking at history, not saying it won't be that bad, because yeah, it is, and until we stop it, it's just going to keep on.